Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Suri Balde. We are back again on another edition. And, I know by the end of this program today, you will get to learn a lot from this program. And, from the reviews that we do here, you will definitely get an insight of what is happening. I mean, current affairs, community watch, social issues, all those things will be discussed. But today it's going to be a special this morning. It's my birthday, 6th of February.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. And Julde is here with me.
Yeah.
She did a nice song for me this morning. And after the program, I'll be posting it on my status.
Happy birthday. I mean, you deserve it. Anyone who knows that Ibrahim is really a cool person. Very honest, very kind, very humble, mashallah, very religious. So Ibrahim is a brother and colleague that I never had before.
Nice. Although
so
Teres don't think that
happy
way.
Happy birthday to you.
Teres.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
May you live to witness many more years to come.
Thank you.
Yeah, hamlinga buga yala nalako yala mai.
Amen.
Mr. Ade.
Hey, Mr. Ade.
It's the VJ's birthday.
It's your man's birthday.
It's the VJ's birthday. And of course, we all join everybody in wishing you happy birthday. But it's very unusual for somebody to say on a show, "It's my birthday." Usually, it's the other people on the show.
For me, I will say it.
My guy is just.
I mean, he is unique. He is unique. We have to agree that Ibrahim is unique.
We do our thing differently.
So we do our things. We are not copycats.
Julia, tell them we are taking Q money. We are taking bank transfer.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it about birthdays.
We are taking Q money. We are taking bank transfer. Yes.
Ajib, we are with Ajib Bank. Big gifts.
Or you can send it to news@qtv.gm.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be about wishing someone a happy birthday, but it should be accompanied with gifts.
Absolutely.
Charities, when people go out to charities in England and in America, they say to people, no amount is too small.
No amount is too small.
And Ibrahim has been putting on smiles on people's faces. So come on, guys, this is the perfect opportunity.
Thank you, Julia. I'm a bit emotional now. All right, so we are back, and we'll take a look at the African code from there, the newspaper review, and from the newspaper review, then we'll take a look at the video of the Gambia 60th Independence, and done by Aliou Cisse. Yesterday, the Chief Justice interview was done by Julde Njai, and a very remarkable narration there. That was great, And today we'll be hearing from the National Assembly members.
Yes, it's a kind of a history of the National Assembly, and it's in two parts. And so what you'll see is part one, and then part two will be on the news tonight. So we hope people will be intrigued enough to want to watch it. It's definitely worth watching, and people will learn a lot.
Absolutely. And the Masembe by-election, we'll be talking to Palmer Khan, the communication officer at the IEC. They are currently in LRR, where this election was held yesterday. So he will give us an update, this by-election. Then,
The by-election, or was it the nominations yesterday?
Well, according to the letter,
Okay.
it is a by-election, according to the letter they sent.
The by-election was held yesterday, or nominations for the by-election?
For the by-election, rather.
Nominations.
But the
I just want
nominations.
clarification.
He will clarify it
No,
when he comes.
he will clarify.
He will
Yeah.
clarify
I
it.
wanted you to clarify.
Because the letter said by-elections.
Yeah.
The letter they sent to us,
Yes.
it's mentioned by-election.
And then what else did the
So-
letter mention?
Yeah, so we are going by that, So we will also be talking to Madi Cisse, a National Assembly member, for Serekunda West. And he will be taking us through, because he's written a book called Journalism, is it a blessing or a curse?
Yes, he's written 3 books, and that's one of the 3. Yes. But it's an intriguing title.
Exactly. So we'll be hearing from him. And Big Banga is about to launch his album called Horondaga. We'll be talking to Big Banga here. On the 8th is the launch of the album. And many people are anticipating, to attend. So let's start with the code, Julde.
So our African proverb or quote this morning is, if you want to improve your memory, lend someone money.
Lend someone money.
If you want to improve your memory, lend someone money.
Yeah.
I lent you money before, right?
See, she's got a very bad memory.
She forgot.
I wish.
She totally forgot.
But, it's one of these. It's quite a funny. Quote,
Yeah, it
because,
is.
when you lend somebody money, you will always remember that they
Yeah.
owe you. I guess it's in the kind of wider context. It's about the importance of, if something is important enough to you, you will remember it.
Yeah.
You remember it. And I think, I can't remember where I went. Oh, when they had there was an event where Malika and also the DG of, it was the event that Geneva had organized. And he said something, and he was addressing various young people, and he said, if you are interested in a subject, you will find it interesting. And that is true, and that certainly resonated with me when I was at school. The things that I was interested in and the subjects, I would run to those classes when those subjects, and the ones I didn't like, I actually, some of them I dreaded, like when I was maths, I used to dread. But, and, you would also retain what it is. You're listening to the teacher more attentively because you're interested in the subject, and that makes it interesting to you. And so, so this is kind of about, remembering what is important to you. And of course, if money is important and you've lent somebody money, in the particular quote itself, then you certainly will remember that, hey, Balde owes me $100,000, which he does. So, Balde, can I have it now? I wish.
Exactly. So, the borrower forgets, but the one that lends money,
the lender
never forgets.
The lender never does.
So that is what it is. I mean, it's telling you, when you are committed to doing something, you will definitely make sure you are always following up. It's always sticking in your head. I mean, you will never deviate from it. Nothing is going to distract you. So it's telling you, to focus on something, focus on your goals, focus on what you want to achieve in life, your plans, So I think for me that's the proverb.
That's a deep one.
Yeah,
what about you?
It's similar to Balda's. I mean, if something is that important to you, you have to invest in it. Invest your time, invest your energy, invest your resources in something that really matters to you the most. I mean, you can't say that something is important and you're not making any efforts towards achieving that particular thing. So if you want to improve your memory, lend someone money. But if you want to improve your life as well, you have to invest in it. You can't just sit around or sit by and say, okay, I want to be A, B, C, and D, or you want to admire everyone that comes there, and then you're not working towards achieving that yourself. I mean, we all have our own paths. Exactly.
Like people who want to get rich quick.
Rich, yeah.
And they see somebody who's rich and they say, I want to be like that. But they think, they don't know the struggle. They don't know the journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes the journey is what makes
absolutely
it
unique and special. Sometimes we have all these miracles and all that. It happens. But you have to, there is no shortcut to success. That I believe in. You have to invest your time, resources, and everything that really matters to you. And if it's really worth it, you will invest in it, really.
That's true.
Exactly. I mean, at this point, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we will do the newspaper review. We'll be right back.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Q-Money e Orange Money joni weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni hiɗa wawi nuldude mbuɗi iwra ko Gambia ɗo yaha Senegal e Q-Money wallet ma on eyyi ko honno wonɗa e fadde mi yetoma udduto Q-Money account ma on joni fuɗɗoɗa nuldude mbuɗi e teriɓe ma rewa ɗon ka Orange Money nder Senegal fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi hiɗa wawi noddude Q-Money customer care e 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ɗum no yaadi e sartaji.
We are back. You're watching QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Now let's move to
the newspaper review.
the newspaper review. And we have some of the stories making headlines, and it's important for us to delve into it.
We have the point here.
We have the point already.
Yes.
Dive
Take
into
us
that
through the
then.
point.
Yeah,
What
so
was-
Health Minister explains delay in medical importation into Gambia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were delays in the importation
Importation.
of medicines in the Gambia.
Me-
so he
medication.
explains as the reason why that is. Yeah.
I mean, part of it, I haven't seen the minister's statement, but if we remember, they sort of had tightened up the rules about the importation of, the certification, the checking, and so on. And some businesses had objected and said, particularly if our medicines are coming from America, why should they be subject to the same checks as if they were coming from India? Well, the rules have to apply to all.
Oh, yeah.
And so, regardless of where your medicines are coming from or where the drugs are coming from, then they have to go through that
Yeah,
whole
check.
procedure. But we know, because I think you raised it when you had the independence thing about, delays of people going to hospitals and not getting drugs. And I mean, Bojang was able to say that there's a reason why that might happen sometime. And so these are some of the things I suspect the health minister was explaining.
Explaining.
Well, when it is not something that always happens, it's not a problem. Or when it keeps repeating, that is the problem.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's important to identify the reason for the delay.
Of course.
Then, there can be a solution, to this, because when it comes to medication, you cannot afford to delay, the importation of medication in any country.
Yeah, I mean, the authorities, I've always kind of held some sympathy for them because it's quite a delicate balance.
It is.
Do you speed up the process by taking shortcuts, or do you slow it down so that you can verify?
Yeah, get the right
And
medication.
so, there's
yeah.
a pressure from the people, the patients who need it, saying, no, bring them in. But what if you then brought it in and we end up with AKI deaths? Because you speed up the process or you take certain shortcuts. So it's a very difficult balance that they have to strike. The Medicines Control Agency, the Ministry of Health, and others, they have to check.
One thing I know, since the AKI thing, the Ministry of Health and Medicines Control Agency, they have been very cautious about anything that has to do with importation, the processing, getting medicine into the country.
As they should. I mean, and if they're not, we would be the first to criticize them.
Yeah.
Because it is what we want. A lot of people, when the AKI deaths happened, with the kind of benefit of hindsight, say, no, you see, you were very lax and so on. But we all were guilty. We would just go to a local pharmacy. My child is sick. I need cough medicine. Give me something. And some of them would say, give me the cheapest, not give me the best or the most expensive. So, we all were culpable. But obviously, that was a bitter lesson that we had to learn. Tragedy that so many children died before we kind of woke up and said, we need to be stricter and more stringent in our checking. But yeah.
I mean, that incident should not have happened in the first place. I mean, it could have been avoided. But like you mentioned, this is a learning curve for all of us. And I want to believe that whether it's coming from America, it's coming from Germany, it's coming from India, it needs to undergo rigorous checking, to verify. I mean, India, they're not all that bad, even though this one emanated from there. But let's not forget that India is the world pharmacy. So, I mean, we can't regard all the medicines that are coming from India as bad medicine.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I think part of the reasons why it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. That India is the kind of they produce generic drugs for the rest of the world. But when you have a company that even in India, certain states had banned their products, and yet those products were coming from Africa, then that should have been a red flag, really. But let's see what else is on.
So Rafaela Gambia secures over $9 million grant. For women empowerment. I've seen the picture of the
president of Rafaela,
the mayor of Banjul, Rahimani Glow.
She's been very much involved.
She's been talking about a lot of investment when it comes to the youths, He's been talking about women empowerment, you know, securing a lot of funds. And this is not the first time they secure such kind of an amount for the empowerment. And you can see how the Banjul City Council, it's also trying to put up ways to help youth, you know, grow. We've seen where some of their projects send a lot of youths to the international wall, I mean, to be able to go and study, learn skills and come back.
Sure.
So I think
yes, I mean, the mayor has been quite dynamic in that respect.
Yes.
Women's empowerment, youth empowerment. And what I've liked about her is that, you know, I've been very critical of politicians who say, I want to do this, that, and for women or for youth, and they can't point to anything that they've done. But she's certainly one who can. As you rightly say, we've covered many of these events, including Rafella stuff in the past. And so, yeah, we hope that we can go back and look at this amount of money that's come in and see that it has been put to exactly the use that it should have been put to, and that it has made a difference. Because unless it's making a difference, then
there's no point.
There's no point. It's just money coming in. So it needs to make a difference, and it needs to be enough to make a substantial change, because we need some kind of drastic, radical change.
Exactly. So, Julde, before we take a break, U.S. funded MCC program paused in Gambia after Trump freezes federal grants.
Yes,
US aid.
All federal grants and loans have been frozen by President Trump. You know, we've heard about US aid. They say from this weekend they're all being sent on leave, administrative leave. Their website is down. And, you know, Elon Musk, who has been put in charge of this Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, D-O-G-E, has said that he regards USAID as a criminal enterprise, which is quite a kind of brutal thing to say. But you and I know that USAID has done a lot of good work in many countries, including here in the Gambia. People don't need to take my word for it. You can go online and you can see all the videos of the work that they're doing. So it's quite frightening, it's quite scary if the funds for those very good things are pulled. But it looks as if that's where we're heading, because, you know, I think to Africa alone, they'll save, if they pull it permanently, something like $30 billion a year. So it's a big figure.
It is.
So, yeah, it's quite, you know, something. But so for us, when we hear all this, Trump's doing this, Trump's doing that, coming up with nonsense about America taking over Gaza, a lot of those things are remote for us, but not something like this. This one impacts us directly. So all those Gambians who were saying they were voting for Trump or they were supporting him, I hope they're still supporting him.
I hope so too. And it's been rumored
you got
that
what you asked for.
1,500 Gambians are set to be deported from the U.S.
That's and interestingly, that figure, which has been doing the rounds, is actually under Biden. It's from November. If you look at the press release, that press release was put out in November. So Trump was not president in November, but people think it's Trump's doing. And when you look at from A to Z, there are people to be deported from virtually every country around the world. Some of them, the figures are so scary, you think, what? Like, I can't remember which country in Latin America, I think 21,000 people to be deported. And they've already started deporting. I mean, yesterday they deported some people to India, and they were taken there by a military plane, which they said doesn't normally happen. Normally they put on a commercial flight. But this time they wanted to make sure that there was no kind of messing
just
about.
Coming in, you know, to add it on this morning, Alaji Momar Njai, the long-serving chairman of the Gambia's Independent Electoral Commission, IEC, has announced his retirement, making the end of a significant era in the Commission's history. Under his leadership, the IEC oversaw key elections, especially the 2016 election, which facilitated a peaceful yet turbulent transition, you know. So here he is.
Yes, I mean, yes, he's been at the helm of it for quite a while, and he'd faced criticism in the past, but I guess now people will look back and see the elections that were held under his tenure, and the IEC performed well. I don't think many people have criticisms of them. of the IEC as an organization, and we will probably do a reflective piece looking back on it. We have many instances of when we interviewed him or when he spoke at press conferences and so on.
Yeah.
And yes, and we wish him well in his retirement.
Yeah.
And you know, whatever he's going to do, you know, so wish him well on the retirement and in his retirement.
At some point, I mean, we all know the stance that he took when it comes to 2016 election, especially during the time of former President Yahya Jammeh. I mean, at some point, people pointed a lot of fingers at the IEC that, okay, these people, they always rig our elections and they give victory to President Jammeh, you understand, then. But, I mean, 2016, you know, him coming up with the bold decision, okay, there will be a change of government. I can remember when I was listening to the radio, the results, and before even the end of the election, you know, due to the results coming
They
in.
were coming in. It was,
People
you know,
already
it
knew
was
who
clear
was
that
the-
Jammeh
So
had lost.
when they were
had lost.
mentioning the final result,
Yeah.
and he said, I am afraid there will be a change of government. I heard that, and I think he didn't even know the mics were on. But he was saying, he said, I think there will be a change of government. That's the time I shouted. When I heard that, I shouted.
People knew that there would be a change
you know,
of
I've
government.
said this. I think you know the changes happen, and we kind of take it for granted. But I think Gambians can be proud of what they did.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get rid of a president, we had a constitution. We still have a constitution that has term limits.
Yeah.
Vote for somebody else. It's as simple as that. That is the ultimate term limit, is to vote, cast your vote for somebody else. Then it doesn't matter how many term limits somebody wants or how many terms somebody wants. If you don't want them, vote for the other person or the other persons.
Yeah.
So,
True.
yeah.
So before we wrap up, 10,000 application forms for jobs in Spain distributed in 2 days.
10,000.
Where we saw the pictures and we saw the videos and we saw people who were going there at the Labour department queuing up, and it shows you the kind of hunger that there is for jobs. And I was speaking to somebody yesterday who was doing a story on unemployment in the Gambia, and I have to say, GBOS and whoever else, that figure of 6.4% or whatever unemployment, I think you guys need to check. That cannot be the honest unemployment rate in the Gambia. That is an impossibility. I know I don't have the facts to me, and I always say to my guys, get the facts.
What is the figure?
6.4% unemployment?
No.
In the Gambia?
In the Gambia?
That's not right.
Then,
wow.
You know, at some
By
point...
looking at it, you know that it's
when
that
you look
can't
at
be
it,
right.
and when they
was
happen
shocked.
to release such a report, we are going to ask the credibility of GBOS itself.
And people don't have to take my word for it. Go on their website. And I
6.4%.
had to check it yesterday because somebody was doing a story about this, and I was like, "Why?" I was completely incredulous. I thought that can't be true, but that's the figure. I mean, and yet it said that was, and yet and what made me even more doubtful was that it said that the urban rate was 9.7%, which even that I thought was a bit generous. I suspect it's higher, but I don't have the facts and the data they do. So if in the absence of anything else, we have to take their word for it. But that figure, it's either 6.4 or 6.8, but I thought it was remarkably low.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
that's lower than the United Kingdom or United States.
That's all we have for
Yeah.
the newspaper review segment, but we'll take a look at the Independent 60th anniversary Independent. We will be right back after that video.
The origins of the National Assembly can be traced back to the mid-20th century, when Gambians began their long struggle for self-rule. Under British colonial rule, decision-making rested entirely with the colonial administration, leaving ordinary Gambians with little say in their future. However, the winds of change swept across Africa in the 1940s and 1950s, with independence movements gaining momentum. In 1960, the Gambia took its first step towards limited self-rule with the introduction of the Legislature Council. For the first time, Gambian representatives could participate in shaping policies for their people. But this was just the beginning.
We will continue to practice the democratic principles which you have bequeathed to us and make the Gambia a shining example of democracy and stability.
With independence on February 18, 1965, came the birth of a fully functioning parliament, the National Assembly. Modeled on the Westminster system, the Assembly was composed of elected representatives tasked with shaping laws and policies for the young nation. Under the leadership of Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, the National Assembly passed foundational laws to stabilize and develop the country. Among its first acts was the creation of legal structures to govern agriculture, education, and healthcare, sectors vital to the Gambia's survival and growth as a new nation. In 1970, the National Assembly played a critical role in transforming the Gambia into a republic, severing its symbolic ties with the British monarchy. It was a defining moment for the country's sovereignty and testament to the Assembly's importance in shaping national identity. Over the years, the National Assembly has passed critical legislation that has shaped the social, political, and economic landscape of the Gambia. They include 1975 Land Tenure Act, ensuring Gambians had greater access to land ownership, the Education Act of 1988, making primary education more accessible to rural communities, the Women's Act of 2010, promoting gender equality and women's rights, and access to information law in 2021. The Assembly has been a platform for bold initiatives and reforms. In the 1990s, it navigated a turbulent period marked by a military coup in 1994. Under the leadership of the Armed Forces Provisional Ruling Council, the National Assembly was temporarily dissolved, only to return stronger with the promulgation of the 1997 Constitution. The 1997 Constitution redefined the role of the National Assembly, giving it new powers and responsibilities while maintaining its functions as a key democratic institution. Honorable Fatoumata Jawara Ceesay became the second female Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, serving from 2007 to 2009 before being relieved of her duties by former President Yahya Jammeh.
We had a good assembly. We debate, we go up to late like they are doing. I'm not saying during my time was the best, but I think I was happy. And we had success. I wish I could have finished the 2 legislative years that was left, but what God has decided, or destined on me, I cannot stop it. But this parliament, they are very, very lucky. And they are independent with anything they do. We are not. Anything we have to do, it has to go to State House. But here, this is this assembly, which is semi-autonomous. We are not. Sometimes we want to travel, we want to go on meetings, we cannot go because President's office would say, or the Presidents would no. So now it's not happening in this assembly. And they are doing very well. We have some very good National Assembly members.
Today, the National Assembly continues to enact laws addressing contemporary challenges from climate change to digital innovation. It reflects the changing priorities and aspirations of the Gambian people. Over the years, the National Assembly has become slightly more inclusive. There are 5 female NAMs, of which 3 are elected. From its early days, dominated by male representatives, it now welcomes a growing number of women and young leaders into its ranks. Figures like Honorable Fatoumata Njie of Banjul South and others have paved the way for greater gender representation in Gambian politics. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Ceesay.
Thank you very much. We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. From that video there, Aliou Ceesay, it's the part 1, and the part 2 will be coming on QTV News today. Tonight, and by next week we'll be featuring the part 2 on this program. Quite a very good narration there.
Sure.
I mean, it's important, Julde, for us to involve our people that were there when the Gambia, was you know, just working to gain independence from Britain.
Yeah.
It's important to recognize. I mean, most people don't even know Safariman Singate was part of the struggle. I mean, when you talk about independence, most of them will tell you Sadauda Karaba, Jawara, but people like Safariman Singate and others were also there.
Yeah.
So QTV will make sure we bring you every day something that will remind you of the independence struggle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Julde will head straight to the other segment and we'll be talking to Pa Makan Khan. He is the communication officer at the Independent Electoral Commission. And of course, we'll be talking about the by-elections at Masembe in the LRR. And Pa Makan Khan is currently on the line. Good morning, Mr. Khan.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Ibrahim.
My brother, it's been a while. How have you been?
I'm doing fine, Ibrahim.
Good. I hope the Jara people are taking good care of you.
Very well. And the weather is very, very fine as well.
MashaAllah. All right. So what is the current status of the Masembe by-election?
Yes, actually the by-election process continues. The first activity dealt with the nomination process. We started yesterday, Wednesday, the 5th of February, and would proceed to the 8th of February. Actually, yesterday we received the first candidate for the by-election, who was from the NPP, the National People's Party.
Okay.
And the candidate was Mr. Lamin Judge, who had been duly nominated as a candidate for the by-election, for the Masembe Ward by-elections in the Lower River region. That's the Mansa Congo administrative area.
Exactly. So what steps have been taken to ensure there is free and fair election?
Yes, actually, the electoral process, the Commission seeks to ensure that it is conducted in accordance to law. First of all, going by the nomination process, we make sure that the candidates, they had to fully comply with the legal provisions, which, of course, the first candidate did. And now we expect to receive the second candidate today. That would be from the UDP, the United Democratic Party.
Okay.
And of course, we hope they will comply with the various provisions that they are expected to comply with. And also, we urge them to make sure that the process remains very peaceful, it remains very calm, also it remains very serene, I would say, so that the elections is conducted in accordance to law and also is done in the most peaceful and the most transparent manner.
Okay, Julda.
Taking us back to Memory Lane, can you tell us what really led to this election? We understand it's a by-election.
Yes, the by-election came up as a result of a vacancy that was created by the demise of the former councillor for Masembe Ward, who was Mr. Bakari Kweta. This was, I think, last year. And once a demise exists in a constituency or in a ward, then a notice is to be sent to the commission that a vacancy exists, then in which case a by-election would have to be conducted. And as per the Local Government Act, a by-election, once a vacancy exists, then the vacancy needs to be filled within 60 days. So this is the process that we are in right now, such that once we do the nomination process, then the campaign would follow, and then we'll be doing the elections on the 22nd of February 2025.
How many political party candidates have submitted their nomination forms already? And are we expecting any independent candidates as well?
So far, we only have 2 candidates that collected nomination forms. That is from the NPP and the UDP. Of course, the process continues. It started from the 5th, and it will continue to the 8th of February, which is the officially designated nomination period. So far, we have only received 2 candidates for this by-election for Masembe Ward.
All right. Interesting. Have there been any delay or issues as far as the electoral process is concerned?
Well, so far I would say everything is on course. Everything is proceeding smoothly, starting with the nomination, and of course it is proceeding very peacefully and smoothly. And of course, I hope this momentum will continue throughout the other stages of the electoral process, including the campaign and even the election. I would say so far so good.
Okay, so are we using the opportunity also, I mean, side by side, to educate voters on their rights and what is supposed to be done before the election?
Yes, very well. Voter education, is a continuing process. The IEC continues to educate voters, and also the partners also in the process, especially the National Council for Civic Education, NCC, is also out and about educating voters, especially within the ward, making sure that they know of their civic duties, their civic rights to exercise their franchise. And also on the part of IEC, the voter education covers issues dealing with how to vote. That is making sure that people know exactly when to vote, where to vote, and how to vote. So I think it's an ongoing process by not only the IEC but also other partners, including the NCCE.
Thank you. Mr. Khan, we would like to confirm something before you go. We've received, a press release that the IEC chairman, is resigning or has resigned or retired already, rather. So is it confirmed?
Yes, I would say the term for the chairman is almost about to elapse. Okay. The chairman is he's still in office. I'm sure in the next few months he will be going on retirement.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for talking to us on QTV this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes. So coming up next, we'll be talking to Honorable Madike Sise, National Assembly member for Serekunda West. And of course, a book called Is Journalism a Blessing or a Curse? Very interesting when I saw the book headline itself. I said, this is really interesting. So it will be very important for us to engage Honorable Sise on this. It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be in the platform.
Yes. Today we are going to talk about something different. It's not National Assembly.
No politics.
No politics, nothing. Exactly. So what inspired you, to write a book, titled with this
journalism
captivating title?
Thank you very much. The push factor or the inspiring factor of writing and really using that caption is it is a memoir of myself, and I ask myself and ask the readers, perhaps if anybody who lay hands on the book would be able to provide the answer whether actually journalism is a blessing or a curse. But actually this is taking us back to Jammeh's era when the media were operating under a very terrible and hostile environment. So I had gone through a lot, and I thought it wise to put it together for upcoming and current journalists to know what transpired in the past 22 years or so. And it will also, I think it will also be an inspiration for the journalists and a determination to see what have I confronted, how did I manage it, and how did I manage to stay like some. And as you may know, a lot of us, at the time the statistic was 20% of Gambian journalists fled the country. And anytime I talk about fleeing the country, I would be tempted to mention Ibrahim Asila, who was a journalist, a vibrant journalist then, working for BBC. He has thrown away for his life. But the likes of us decided to stay. So I thought it is wise to put things together.
And these are 3 books, and this is just one of the 3. Yes. So let's talk about what at the end of the day, what do you want readers to gain from this book?
Well, if I stick to the journalism book, it would be kind of a warning to any system that is in place now, not to fall in the same trap as the Jammeh regime, so that journalists are given the freedom to operate without any hindrance. And then for the journalists, it is also serve them as an inspiration that they should just stick to the truth. It's only the truth that will be our defense. Our defense, because I still consider myself as a journalist, and that is what I expect journalists to get from the book. They will see the hurdles under a dictatorial regime, and then if we should fall, or any journalist should find themselves into such circumstances, the book will teach you how to go about it.
Exactly, Julia.
So, in your view, you gave us an overview of journalism before, how it used to be under former President Yahya Jammeh's tenure. And now that there is, to some extent, freedom of the media and press, how would you rate Gambia's journalism, the impact it is having, now that with the advent of AI? How is it from before?
Well, I think artificial intelligence I would advise journalists to desist from it. Because if you write something and give it to them, they will produce it. And if you are not careful by going over it, you will find yourself in a mess.
Factual errors.
Yes, there will be a lot of errors. So I think journalists should, as much as possible, desist from it. If they don't, they should cross-check after the feedback comes back to them. Because journalism is all about facts. So you cannot let anything out which is wrong. Well, we know we are human, sometimes it happens, but like us journalists, we are far better than many professions. We will display our mistakes on our front pages. If there is a newspaper or television or radio, we will always come out and say, this is our mistake. Whilst other professions will bury their mistakes. Like, for example, if somebody goes on the surgery and then because of mistake, if he or she dies, the doctor will never come out and say, this is my error. That's the difference that we have with other professions. So we are human. If there is errors, we'll always correct them. But then we should try as much as possible to desist from really letting anything out that is not truthful. And if I compare Jammeh's regime and the current regime as far as media is concerned, I'll give credit to this government. That we really have freedom.
Interesting. Okay, Julie, go ahead.
What are some of the issues that arise from the book that you wrote before and now? What are some of the things that journalists are still confronted with?
Well, before, if there is an error, you pay dearly for it. The core of the story in the book is about the tortures I have faced in the hands of the security and the National Intelligence Agency's premises. I know it's an open secret now to know that the NIA was a ground of torture for anybody that the government then feel you are not in their good books. In the 2006 attempted coup of Tulcham, then I was the general manager of Independent newspaper, a very critical newspaper for that matter, and at the same time I was also the president of the Gambia Press Union. So we published a story about that coup, and we got one of our facts wrong, because we mentioned that one Samba Ba was part of the coup and detained. And the next day Samba was in the office, very furious to say, what have you done to me? My family here and outside, everybody's calling. So we sat him down, assigned a reporter to him to say, vent out all your grievances. And the next day it was in the same front page, Samba has nothing to do with the coup. That was my only crime. So the next day, Monday, night before the Monday, they arrested my editor-in-chief, Musa Sedikan. And then I got a call from another editor, Suleiman Michael, to say, well, you shouldn't go to the office because Sedikan is arrested. I said, I will be the last person not to go to the office. By virtue of my position as general manager of the newspaper and also as president of the Gambia Press Union, I will go to every police station to find out where Musa is. So I went to the office, And then unfortunately, they had also dispatched men to the office, and the order was to arrest everybody. So anybody who comes to the office is arrested. Even government officials who have sent their messengers, they will arrest and taken to the PIU.
Wow.
Everybody. So I worked in an empty news environment, and then, though I already made my mind, I knew.
You were prepared for it.
So I just walked straight to the office, even though the place is very unusual. The newspaper office is crowded that morning, Monday morning, but it was so lonely. And I sighted few people who are strangers to me, but I ignored them, walked towards my office, and then my attention was called. And that's how I was picked, taken to the PIU. And eventually, everybody was released, and I was taken to the NIA. So what happens at the NIA, I have said it over and over in the press, in the TRRC. So to cut a long short story, I was severely tortured. And I think the objective of the then government was to scare me and make me run away.
True.
I decided not to go. I stayed and stayed still pushing my pen. And as a result, I was awarded the International Press Freedom Award in the US, and I was invited to go to the US. When I went there, some friends were telling me, "You are crazy, why are you going back?" I said, "I'm going back. I just come to pick my award," and then I came
back to my country.
I came back. So that is the center of this story. Those kinds of small mistakes. Because I remember at the NIA, after all those tortures, when one Captain Sen, who was a senior officer, asked why I was there. I said, "You tell me, I don't know." He said, "Because you wronged the government." I said, "No, what I did was I wrote a story about a citizen who was aggrieved, and the next day we published our result."
And that's the right thing to do.
And correct it.
You know, but we all know how the environment was then.
Yes.
You know, so what do you think the future holds for aspiring journalists?
Right.
Do you see more blessing or curse in their path?
No curse. I don't see any cause. So far so good. We're human. Governments are also managed by human beings. Although here and there are some trends of drain from the right path to the. We've just seen recently when Musa Sedikan and Justice Dabo were charged for, which could only have been addressed by a simple response by a press release today. It is not true. We have not change this government. He is not our flag bearer, but no. Instead, but in the end, I think senses come back and then they were discharged. So we have those kind of isolated issues, and then in the past also we had issues when King FM and other stations were temporarily shut down. So I think the system has changed as far as media is concerned, and Gambians have decided. I don't think for now any government can really go into the footsteps of former dictator Jammeh.
True. Yeah. So
moving on to the second book, or do we still have
Jaliba
Kuyate?
Yes.
Yeah. Jaliba Kuyate,
King of Kora. Tell us about that book.
Yeah, Jaliba, I have lived for some time now, and then I have seen some big Kora players in the region, in the names of Lalakeba Drame. He was the king of Kora at the time. But then after his demise, I have not seen anybody so popular with the strings of the Kora than Jaliba. So I thought, and Jaliba is our own. So I thought it's better at least to write his legacy, write his biography, and leave it for posterity so that people will know who Jaliba is, what he has done, and things like that. And interestingly, there are some very interesting stories about him. Like, do you know his real name?
No, I only know Jaliba Kuyate.
His real name is Edward.
Edward?
Edward.
Wow, that's really, I'm surprised to know that.
His real name is Edward. He is named after his father's elder brother, who was also a big griot at the time.
Edward?
Yes, Edward. And he later was asked by a Marabu to move to a village in Nyamina called Jafai. Yeah. And if you go to Jafai, there is a taba tree that is called Jalitaba. And so I wrote about his history. But when I first approached Jaliba to say, look, I really want to do a biography on you, he was astonished. He said, really? I said, yes. He said, nobody has done that for him, although late Jay Shedi, he said, attempted, but he never completed. But unfortunately for me, I was able to put things together. And it's interesting to know that our own Jaliba, who here in the sub-region, he cannot match any
Never.
any Kora player
Absolutely.
for the time being.
Absolutely.
And in their terminologies, he's the Kudama of Kora in the region.
True. That is
so,
true.
So a lot of things about it. He wrote about the songs he has composed many songs ago, Christian songs, and then also he has acted in ambassador capacities for UNICEF and a lot of others, and for the wife of the former president of Senegal. So, and his songs are really full of messages.
Absolutely. You know, I think it's a very good thing. I mean, for you to write about Jaliba Kuyate. I mean, this is how we're going to preserve our history. This is how our generations are going to know, okay, this man existed and this is what this happened. You know, the likes of Lalo Keba Drame, you know, now you will be able to know Lalo Keba through oral history.
That's all.
You know, my dad will tell me he was the best when it comes to Kora. So Jaliba also deserves more than that.
Yes, in fact, more. If you go through the book, you will discover that the kind of songs Jaliba composed as compared to Lalo Keba, there is big difference. And then, you know, he also went into explaining the 21 strings of the Kora and how they come about. So there's a lot in the book for people to really learn. Yes.
Did the book also touched on the history of the Kora?
Yes, yes. That's very key. And Kora is Gambian. There's a chapter called Kora is Gambian.
Okay.
So Kora is Gambian. If you go to the history of Kora, it comes out from Sanementreng. You have one, and this guy who really discovered Kora lives in URR, Sotoma side or something.
Okay.
Yes, and then he went to Sanementreng, and then, you know, was kind of isolate himself there, and then inspirations came, and then he discovered the Kora. So that's why there's a whole chapter to say Kora is Gambian.
It's Gambian. So do you think this generation is doing enough to preserve the Kora?
I think maybe what Jaliba should help in that. I told him in the interviews that he needs to come up with a kind of a school, or try to liaise with the education department so that it's a curriculum in the school where Kora can be taught. That way we can preserve it. But I can tell you this, yes, Kora will be preserved, because people who are really grievous naturally don't want to go away with the Kora.
True.
And when Jaliba was going to school in those days, the chiefs will gather and then ask parents to give out their children, because schools were not many. And when the chief of Dankunku asked his father to bring a child, he named his brother. And the chief says, no, I know that one is a sick child, he cannot go to school. I mean your son, Jaliba. He said no, because if he sent Jaliba to school, Jaliba would not be a Kora player. And then they would lost their tradition. And the chief, late Boramboj, assured him that Jaliba would do better in both fields. But anyway, there is a lot that the book talks about.
Wow,
so
nice.
to the final book, The Rise and Fall of Jammeh, Dictatorship. Tell us about that. What is your own view of what led to the rise and fall of Jammeh?
That's the thickest book among the two. And it starts from, because it's over 300 pages, when the other one is 164, and the other one is like less than 100 pages. And the rise and fall of Jammeh, dictatorship, I started the story to pre-independence, because I wanted to lay a foundation that we had a democracy. We do not have a dictatorship from the word on go. So key players in our independence were captured. Both political parties and individuals' names were captured. The likes of Edward Francis Small, the likes of Per Jai, the likes of Sadauda, I.M. Gabajambe, a lot of them who played part to our independence. And then the establishment of democracy under Jawara and his 30 years of rule. And then from there, then science started the fall of democracy, and that is the beginning of the rise of dictatorship. And I borrowed 2 chapters from Kairaba's book. That is Assault on Democracy and the 1994 coup. That led to the demise of democracy and then the rise of dictatorship.
Dictatorship,
when
yeah.
Jammeh took over. So then Jammeh's story starts from 1994. And the book will take you through a lot of violations against the media, against the civil society, against religious people, against politicians, the soldiers. Yes. So it's a whole lot of dictatorial tendencies of the former president. And I get my sources from the National Library, the National Center for Arts and Culture, mainly from the findings of the TRRC and other sources as well.
How long does it take you to combine all these books together?
Oh, I wrote these 3 books in 6 months.
All the 3 books in 6 months?
6 months.
Honorable, have you been doing all your day and night writing?
No, I divide myself into my time. I go to Parliament, but Parliament is not every day. So after sessions, during sessions we are busy. I can't hardly do anything. But then in between sessions you have committee meetings, you have time. Like today I have no meeting in the Parliament. Tomorrow I have no meeting in the Parliament, but Monday I have.
Okay.
So, but most of the time when I travel, I have more time.
Oh, okay.
More time.
Okay.
When all the research are together, the editing and the, brushing and making it in good shape take place whilst I'm alone. But my family also contributes a lot because I take too much of their time.
Wow.
Yes.
How was it like? What was the feeling like writing all these 3 books? And what was the one book that really stood out for you and you were really excited to write about the book?
That is journalism.
Journalism. Surprise.
A journalist will always...
Yeah, that book is dear to my heart.
So, it's Gambia's 60th independence very soon. What can you tell us? What can you recall, I mean, during your days? I mean, you've mentioned it on the program. You've lived now for a very long time. Alhamdulillah, may you live longer. So what can you recall? What can you tell us about this?
Oh, it was interesting during our time when I was going to school, primary schools in the early 60s. In fact, I went to school 1 year before our independence, and then what we used to have is Empire Day. And because I went to school in Brikama, then we don't have a lot of schools then. I hail from Pirai. It's a small hamlet.
Pirai Tenda?
Yes, small hamlet far east. But my father migrated to Fladu and then finally settled in Kerawan Samasira.
Okay.
And then I was able to go to Brikama primary schools. So in those days we gather at Makati for the Empire Day. I attended one Empire Day because it was before independence. And in the subsequent years were independent days. Very exciting. We moved from schools to Georgetown on trucks, lorries. And then it's very joyful, we're singing songs. And when the Independent Day is approaching, it's really very exciting for kids at our age. It's very, very nice. And then, but as I grow to a higher school, it may also interest you to know that from becoming a primary school, my next school was LK.
Oh, LK.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And that's where I stopped.
LK?
As far as basic is concerned.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So at LK, we are grown-ups, Form 1, then we had the form system, not the grade system. So Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 up to Form 4. So the independence days are really very interesting. There is no decentralization at the time. I have seen during Jammeh's time, sometimes they will decentralize it. But then before, all the schools in Banjul here will all go to Makati Square for the independence, and then the president will come and address boys and girls. His usual melodious voice, Sadada, will say boys and girls. It's quite interesting during
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable, for coming on the QTV this morning and, discussing about the books. Thank you. We appreciate it. And where can we get the books?
Well, the books will be launched February 15th.
Okay, February 15th.
At Sadada Conference Hall. Thereafter, before that, we'll place books at Timbuktu. So
so the launch
from tomorrow Friday, anybody who walks into Timbuktu, you can grab a copy. But then we'll sell most of the books at the launch.
Okay.
At the launching.
So the launching, everything is set for the launching.
Yes, everything is set for the launching for the 15th. Jaliba will be the chief launcher of his own.
Oh, nice! That would be great.
And Seli Jaju, a journalist, will launch she's the president of the Association of Health Journalists. Will launch the journalism book, and Rahim Malik Law will launch the dictatorship.
Wow, nice! Thank you, Honorable. Thank you very much for giving us your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we'll be talking to Big Banga as he set to launch his album Horondaga. So from this segment, then we'll head straight to that segment. We'll be back.
First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Did you know you can buy cash power using QMoney wallet absolutely free up to $30,000 Use our app or dial 323# and select Q Power. Choose Register Meter. Enter your meter number. Dial *323# and follow these simple steps. Number 1. Select option 3 for Q Power. Number 2. Choose option 1 to buy any amount of Q Power. Enjoy free QCell airtime every time you cash in to purchase Q Power. For any inquiries, call 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalbe.
Welcome back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Now let's move to the last segment of this program. The biggest event, people are anticipating this weekend, the Horondaga concert by Big Banga and his team. It will be amazing. As you know, Banga don't joke. No. His team don't joke. So it's going to be a big concert, Horondaga. I don't know what Horon means, but I know Ndaga means let's go. It's sort of. But what we do, we'll introduce a video of Big Banga and Jizzle. We'll be back.
Time feeling think I fly, cause I will be overtake. Thank you, saying get my on and I got not dead. Karimata keep on in down, and in Kilunto of it. Can't go feel life, my love it. Time feeling think I fly, cause I will be overtake. Thank you, saying get my on and I got not dead. Karimata keep on in down, and in Kilunto. Say Jody, now learn the conil man curry, but I don't know one apology. them a worry. Now Kedi Mile, I'm sorry. Fangol them from Boni. Yeah, fangol them from Boni.
Kuna kwende kudati kuti za utenyi nyendanga la bodenga na kuti for ulenga kutajo koma kosa ni puti check this partners nigga telembo ya we are kuti E-class vroom vroom first class pussy them a last class na manka
Thank God for life, me my love in the make. Time for the think of fly, cause I won't pay over there. Thank you, sir, again, my on and I got day. Karimada keep on in down, and in Gilundo, thank God for life, me my love in the make. Time for the think of fly, cause I won't pay over there. Never say again, my on and I got day. Karimada keep on in down, and in Gilundo. Fibe 10 years na fineka o, mane dara di fiseda o. And you know they kaki no be leda o. Du musa neka pena o, du musa neka pena o. Bye bye eta o, do ham fu maneka o. Minang sang kuba leba kela o, muno hanyu my lega o. Muno hanyu my lega o. Tango fi life, ni malabin te ramek. Time feeling think of fly, cause I want pay over there. Thank you, sir, again, manya. On and I got na day. Karimada keep on in down, and in Gilundo, we do. Thank God for life, my love is the game. Shine, feeling, think of fly. I don't want to over there. Never say again, manya. On and I got na day. Karimada keep on in down, and in Gilundo, we do.
Telling from Boni. I mean, we are back. I mean, that's Jizzle there, Scopy and Big Banga, Sarahule Batmano. I mean, on Saturday, all roads, I mean, leads to the Horondaga concert. Big Banga, Nyungla Nuyu. Naka nga def?
Alhamdulillah, mangla na fe bu baba.
The only Sarahule Batman, you know, with the swagger. Okay, Nyungla dalal si program this morning. Everybody's watching. Both national and international. Dañ bëggoon nga wax ñu you know balaa ñoo dugga si Horondaga concert nañ reflect sa background naka nga started because at some point dama la doon gis yu ak Muhaba Empire you were moving time boobu yéen a ngi gën a tuuti so bëgga naa rek nga wax ma sa early days in music.
Yeah, mooy loolu alhamdulillah, you know nu ma ko dooree woon mooy si groupe laa nekkoon mooy Muhaba Empire groupe boobu noonu. Yeah, so si groupe bi lañ ko dooree ñu ñetta di def music yàlla dogal ne dinañ separate ku nekk taxawal boppam dama taxawal suma boppa loolu nekk en 2019 so ma nekkal suma boppa as a solo artist ba léegi fu ma nekk ni yàlla meema tur bi ak yooyu so yeah.
Exactly, interesting. Da nga amoon the intention time boo doon grow pour nekk a musician, you know, because boo duggee fi maa ngi doon tooñ ma ne Sarahule they are bad now, you know, because ñun most of the time Sarahule dañoo xam tukki lañu leen xamee yóbbu kii yóbbu the whole family yóbbu leen Europe ñun loolu lañ xamoon waaye léegi mu ngi mel ni now we are transforming to a conventional lifestyle. So da nga amoon the intention to do music?
Yeah, man daal mën naa wax ne like music moo nekk si man, you know, because si daara bi laa nekkoon sax but si daara bi sax dama dee try suma books yi ak yooyu si gannaaw yëpp. Bina music, you know.
Ustaz bi dina la dur.
Try escape si daara bi daw ak yooyu noonu.
I know. So, that's right.
So how was it like music? Is it something loo xam ne danga ko doona or
no
fekkuloo ko?
Suma family. Suma yaay nekkut woykat, you know, suma papa tam nekkut woykat. Yàlla man la def woykat, you know, man la def musician, you know. But suma dad tam mu doon explain ne like moom musoon nañ ko wax ne like sa benn doom mu ngi fa kooku waxkat la. Dina nekk waxkat bu mag. Yeah, so mu ne ñoom si ñoom loolu mooy comme dina nekk musician wala mu nekk
or a politician or something.
Yeah, so man ak suma brother bi la woon, you know, so moom def doon debate kan la si. Loolu moo taxoon mu jël ñu jam ñu si daara bi, you know.
Daat ba doon daw.
Yeah, mu doon daw loolu, you know, so loolu ñëw dem ba happen, you know, then moom dafa wax ne mu ne ku ko wax loolu daf ko wax ne su starté bu ko stop. so loolu moo tax bu ma starté di def music di nobatu benn day mu ooma mu explain na ma ne lii moo happenoon so mu oo suma yaay den mu explain na ko maire bi maire bi mu ne waaw waxoon na ko but den doon xool yow ak sa brother kan la so noonu la ma bàyyee ma def music.
I love those type of dads who believe in their children's dream.
So
look at it now, Big Banga flying higher, making a difference, you know, Julde.
So Dipi Boba, aside from Sadat bi, family bi, community bi, naka lañ la receive?
Yeah, dañ ko appreciate, you know. Man daal starting bi la rek ñenn ñi doon wax, you know, but after that bi mu explain loolu den ñëpp a ko appreciate once. ñëpp bokk si suma fans yi. ñëpp bokk si ñu ma jàppale tam pour music bi gën a dem.
Ban moo nekkoon sa first music song ak what inspired that song?
Yeah, suma first music time boobu si groupe la nekkoon, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, boobu ñu ngi form one team. mooy Muhaba Empire team boobu, you know. Yeah, but bu ma taxawee solo as man kenn suma woy mooy bato xoore ngari ni. boobu mooy ferry bu mag baa ngay ñëw, you know, baton yu dee asi container yi ak yooyu.
Wow.
Yeah, man gars boobu moo nekk di ñëw because like dama load lu bari pour
ñëw wàcce.
You know.
So support in terms of support wise, kan moo la support the most nga aga fi nga aga ni, because to be great requires a lot of
at the same time considering our music industry nu mel nii. Banga, if you are counting comme tey Gambian artists yi soo counté 10 doo génn si 10 yi. So count the 10 best in this country doo génn si ñi. soo waxee kii ak kii Banga foog mu dugg Banga su fa dugg dañ laa oo ñu teg la ñu ne la ne your list is bad. It's not true. So how did you manage from that time nga ñëw ba nekk fi?
loolu happen, you know, loolu sant yàlla bu bari suma fans yi maa ngi gërëm gaay bu baax a baax, you know, and suma fan base bi suma management team bi so ñoo def liggéey bi because su desee si man kenn like man si studio bi laa dugga record woy bi pare naa si so ñoom ñooy génn ut radio station si ut TV si pour yóbbu vidéo si ak yooyu pour song tune bi mun a dem nit yi gën koo mun a dégga, you know, and try tam nu ma performer si show si ak yooyu ak man tam suma boppa dama daan def effort a lot. Yeah, because dama daan dem si show yi, you know, MC bi sax dama laa bribe pour ma egg ma perform, you know. Yeah, but buñ ko daan téye lu serious because saraxule buy woy waaw dafa confusion diti saraxule buy woy understand, so ba léegi moom alhamdulillah, you know, léegi ñëpp a ngi feel vibe bi nekkuñ di dégg laaka bi sax but ñu ngi ko woy dañ ko dee woy sax di ko wax waaye nekkuñ di dégg lu ma wax, you know, so loolu sant yàlla bu bari.
Man, I like your song for the bad guy Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj.
Horondaga.
Let's talk about the concert.
mu ngi vibe. Lan mooy Horondaga?
Horondaga mooy nañ dem.
Nañ dem.
Waaw. Yeah, Horondaga boobu tam concert bi mu lu mu ñëwee daal mooy dama toog ma xalaat ne ok like music bi ñun ñëpp benn crown lañ nekk di ut. te benn crown boobu xëjut si boppa yëpp si benn boppa rek la mën a tegu, you know, like yàlla ku mu ko jox rek kooku moo fa mën a kooku si boppi kooku la war a em. then from there su ko jëlee mu tegaat ko si beneen boppa ñoo xam ne si boppa boobu noonu la dugga tam, you know. Yeah, so ma toog ma calculer ok lii yëpp push and pull bi yëpp pour leena lii la léegi what of ñun ñëpp ñu dem rek ñu demandoor ñu bàyyi ku fa nekk rek mu nekka so moo tax ma asi wi dat Horondaga nen dem ne ñëpp dem si kanam jama bi continuer, you know, so music bi grow.
True.
Yeah.
So lan la ñoo expect si Horondaga concert bi on Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday moom gars yi dinañ gis lu musut a gis daal Saturday inshallah, you know, dinaa fa ñëw ak yëfi saraxule yu garaaw naa fa ñëw ak yëfi soose yu garaaw naa fa ñëw ak yëfi pol yu garaaw naa fa ñëw ak yëfi joolaa yu garaaw
soo jurte ak yëfi pol moom ñoo la jur di
all inclusive la so léegi fan la concert bi di xewee?
Yeah, Manjai Park la moo xewee.
Ba mbaa Manjai dinañu mun a contain?
Waaw ma ne
affaire la Manjai duñu mun a contain de ñun suñu affaire la bëri de
dëgg pol yi moom kay ñoom seen boss ñoom seen place ang fa.
Manjai dina fees a fees
ñoom suñ doom yi ne leen teral bu baax.
kon teel leen a ñëw because place bi dafa pack. I mean it's going to be packed. I mean who's calling Big Banga, you know, and the team.
Yeah,
so
du nekk lu ndaw, you know.
xam naa Saturday bi foog ma doxantu, you know.
Kay war ngaa def loolu big time.
You know.
Saturday ñëpp a war a génn, you know.
Exactly. So wax ñu rek finally lan lañ war a expect Big Banga. xam naa ne moom. you know dafa nekk something very entertaining.
yeah. nen expect lu bari dinañ gis cosaan nen expect cosaan bi dina ñëw. dinañ wone tam that badness style xam nga. boy saraxule bi flex nen expect lu bari.
true.
ku bugg a gis loolu. teewul rek.
kan moo la nekk di manage Banga.
Hamza moo ma nekk di manage DJ Hamza.
I wanted to tell you teg na loxoom fu baax because the thing is he's doing the right thing.
Sure.
Wow, because so said there's a transition ba fii. He's definitely doing the right thing.
Yeah. mu ngi liggéey bu baax a baax you know DJ Hamza maa ngi ko gërëm bu baax moom suma brother la di seen mom and dad.
Hey.
moom moo nampa bàyyi man ma jël you know.
di ku la nekk di manage.
ku ma nekk di manage. moom moo nampa mu bàyyi
and he's sitting right here.
Wow.
He's sitting right here.
Fu
Banga nekk rek mu ngi fa. Fu Banga nekk rek mu ngi fa. ma foog ne ay siif ngeen sax you know.
yeah like depuis time xale la you know dañ nangulante you know so daat bi dafa dem mu gaañu bàyyi ñu so moom moo jël place yi papa. yeah da nga gis la like man Big Banga sax su ma waxee nit ne man awma bank account. dañ de waa what. ma ne non yëpp si suma turi broda la.
foofu la moo dem.
su ma buggee cop dama ko call boy. suma xaalis bi jeex na lii
dama
laa bugga. mu asil ma xaalis.
mu rek
ma bugga yére boy. mu dem mu jënd mu asi.
that's the right to go. kenn bu dugga seen diggante. make sure family stays. Thank you very much Big Banga for talking to us on QTV this morning. We wish you all the best. You know and nit ñi nañ génn si. tickets si waa
tickets si advance yi $300 la. Gate $500. VIP $1,000.
$1,000.
Are we expecting guest artists?
Wow.
Yeah, sure. ñu bari Gambian si yëpp
ñu bari dinañ fa nekk. Yeah, so thank you very much viewers. Julde, this is all we have for this segment.
Yeah, until we come your way next to. And it's Ibrahim's birthday. Make sure you send in your gifts.
It's my birthday.
Yeah.
Make sure tam Saturday bi so len bëggee chill, the right place to chill is Manjai Park, the Horondaga concert. Thank you very much. Until we come here again next week, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
It's Chill Life music.
Thank God for life, me my love in the make. Time feeling think I fly, cause I will be overtake. Thank you, say they came my on and I got not dead. Karimada ke poninda, nantini kilunto ovide. Thank God for life, me my love in the make. Time feeling think I fly, cause I will be overtake. Never say they came my on and I got not dead. Karimada ke poninda, nantini kilunto ovide.
Yeah. Them a worry. Ya ke ma ke se chori. Na lonne konyil mankori. But I don't know one apology. Them a worry. Na ke di mile I'm sorry. Fangolem famboni. Fangolem famboni.
Kudati kuti. Za utenyi nyendanga la bodenga na puti. Ulenga kutajo koma kosa ni puti. Check this partners nigga telembo ya we are kuti. E-class. First class. Pussy them a last class. Namana mankat.
Thank God for life, me my love in the make. Time feeling think I fly, cause I won't be overtake. Thank you, say they get my on and I got not dead. Karimada ke poninda, nantini kilunto ovide. Thank God for life, me my love in the make. Time feeling think I fly, cause I won't be overtake. Thank you, say they get my on and I got not dead. Karimada ke poninda, nantini kilunto ovide.
Fibe them years nothing like out. Money that I do fi say out. And you know they cocky no be laid out. Du musa neka pena out. Du musa neka pena out. Bye bye.